You know, I'm not sure there could be anything possibly spookier for a betting video on Halloween than hammering Jameson Williams overs. Hey, I'm Dave Loughren, and you're watching The Perfect Parlay. As always, we piece together a three-legger at the top. I will give you a ladder play, and then we will boost something across one of these books. And I found a beautiful 50%er. Of course, I've got you a 100-yard receiving ladder and a three-legger, so let's get straight into it. As always, if you like this content, if it's helped you profit along the way, or maybe you're just entertained by it, for good or for worse, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below your favorite ladder spot for the week. I think there's a couple great ones, and we're going to dive into the parlay first. I'll go leg by leg here. I try and mix it up every week. Last week we had spreads, and unfortunately that sucked too, because we're going into this, right? We had the Jalen Knoll ladder to 70. He got 64, so still a really nice profit there. And we had two of our three legs in the game spreads parlay knocked out. All we needed was Pittsburgh. They're up 16 to 7 at halftime. You're like, all right, just hold on. Don't lose by more than 3. And oh, they did. But still, a good week overall. And of course, in week 1, we hit our Jordan Addison 100+ ladder. And if you're following me over on Tails, we hit the Woody Marks 40+ ladder in the first quarter. So we'll see if we can keep it going this week, and we'll get to that in a second. But first, the parlay, the three-legger, and I'm going different. We're going rushing yards. We're going all overs on rushing yards this week because there's a few spots I quite like. And we're going to kick it off with Emmanuel Wilson over 27.5 rushing yards. Why? Well, Jacobs, I think, is still dealing with, and I mentioned this earlier in the week on one of my other shows, that I think Josh Jacobs is dealing with an injury. The calf injury that, almost held him out of that Arizona game a couple weeks back. Now, he played last week, but he wasn't super efficient. They're still using him in the red zone and the goal line. Keep that in mind for later, because I got something great for you. A little 50% anytime touchdown boost. We're throwing 3 legs into that one. But I do think Emmanuel Wilson benefits from this. And now you're seeing Josh Jacobs limited in practice throughout the week. I don't think it's going to hinder him to the point where he can't produce. What I do think, though, is as a 13-point home favorite, you could have additional opportunities for Wilson, who showed out really well last week in primetime on Sunday night. And you look at this, he was more productive than Jacobs last week. It's only a 1-game sample. I try not to read too much into this, but I think there's 3 ways we can get there. And I should point out, I bet all of these as singles too. Highly recommend you guys do the same, right? And then place a small amount on the parlay. Always bet these as singles because I like these bets individually. But here's the 3 ways I think he can clear this number. 1, Jacobs is a bit limited again, and Wilson spells him more than he typically would as a big favorite. Also, number 2, as a huge favorite, they go up early and Matt LaFleur decides, you know what, let's give Wilson more work in the second half. And then number 3, the Panthers' run defense is still very suspect, right? Like, yeah, they shut down a few teams over a handful of weeks, but then you just saw James Cook obliterate them for over 200 rushing yards on the road. Wilson could simply get there on a handful of efficient touches, so there's a lot of different ways we can get there. Number 2, add it to the parlay, Kareem Hunt over 47.5 rushing yards. Look, I have to bet this, all right? Isaiah Pacheco's been ruled out, and we know Kareem Hunt is really the only other running back in this backfield that Andy Reid has any trust in. And we saw that last year, where he averaged 19.5 attempts, 72 rushing yards per game in 8 starts that Pacheco missed. Now, let's be clear here. This is a different offense than we saw last year, right? You had no Rashee Rice in those games. You had no Hollywood Brown in those games. Xavier Worthy was a rookie. None of that's lost on me. But it still highlights the fact that Andy Reid trusts Kareem Hunt over anybody else. Particularly, I do not see Brashard Smith coming in and getting like 10 carries in this game. Sure, he'll spell Kareem Hunt, but I would expect Kareem Hunt to be the lead guy for sure. Oh, and also, I didn't mention this yet, but Ed Oliver's on the IR, and Daquan Jones, who's actually playing really well on the defensive line, he's out as well. And the Bills are allowing 5.3 yards per attempt to opposing running backs this season. So even if Hunt isn't super efficient anymore, it's a spot I quite like, and that is number 2 in our parlay. Let's get to the third leg and see what our odds come out as. Of course, if you find the boost here, maybe you're watching this Sunday morning, right, or Saturday night, and more of these NFL boosts start to come in. Always do that. A boost can take a bad bet and turn it good, a good bet and make it better. Anytime you can boost something, take advantage of that, especially with these long shots, because all you need is one or two of them across a season to buoy all of those losses and put you in the black. Javonte Williams over 64.5 rushing yards. So we got 3 overs on rushing yards. I don't know if you guys saw this, but after the ugly loss in Denver to the Broncos, Dallas head coach Brian Schottenheimer, when speaking about Jaden Blue, said you can't put the ball on the ground and you have to be on top of your blitz pickups, before essentially saying that there's an open battle for the running back 2 position in Dallas. But I can tell you what, Javonte Williams is not vacating the RB1 spot anytime soon. And now you have reason to believe that he's only going to see more work in a home matchup, particularly this week against Arizona. And he's already handling 73% of the Cowboys' running back rushing attempts. The same with Miles Sanders and without Miles Sanders, okay? That's already what we're seeing. And the Cowboys have scored 40-plus points in each of their 3 home games this year. You have a middle-of-the-road run defense in Arizona, but Dallas has a 28-point implied total, and they just should be able to move the ball. Plus, Jacoby Brissett looks like he's going to be starting in this game. At least it seems that way, because he was getting first-team reps on Friday's practice while Kyler Murray threw to the backups. All right, so with the Emmanuel Wilson over on rushing, Kareem Hunt over on rushing. By the way, I meant to say 44.5 and not 47.5. My apologies. You can see it here in the slip. And Javonte Williams over 64.5. We get that to plus 561 on FanDuel. Of course, shop your books. Make sure you're getting the best odds possible. You may find them better elsewhere. This is just the most convenient in terms of what I'm allowed to bet spot for this one, and I couldn't find a noticeable difference. But if you can, make sure to do it. All right, it is ladder time. And we've had some success with these lately, but we are going to go out on a limb. As I said in the intro, this is a spooky one, and what more could we ask for on Halloween Day? Of course, you may be watching this after Halloween, but that's besides the point. Also, all of my bets are over on tails.bet or in the Tails app. If you go into the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, type Tails and download the Tails app. Follow me, turn on notifications. It is free. Never ask a cent from you. There's a ton of free bets. It's basically Twitter without all the garbage. It's straight bets, free bets all the time. Also, some premium stuff if you want some of that, but my picks are free all year long, and we've had a profitable season. That's all I can say. So if you're looking for free picks and you're tired of going and paying people who they say, oh, well, this guy sells the most subscriptions. Who cares? Is he making you money? Well, you don't have to pay me a cent. So come hit me up over on tails.bet. At Loughy, you can find the link in the description or just download the app and hit me up there, Loughy. That is how you find me, and all of my picks, they go there first. And some that you'll never see on YouTube or on Twitter only go to Tails, and you guys got them for nothing. So we're going to go crazy, and we're going with Jameson Williams. Now, I generally am the type of guy that wants to take situational bets when it's buy low spots. And I tend to stay away from narratives because you can really muddy the waters there, and they get steamed from public betting, and it's gross. But I think this might be one of those rare instances where the two of those kind of converge. And here's what I mean. Lions OC, their offensive coordinator, John Morton, said that he failed Williams in terms of getting him the ball this season, and the coaching staff worked with him over the bye to get him more open in certain spots. Now, yeah, that's only one piece of the puzzle. Here's the thing, though. At 42.5, how am I not betting the standard line here when they have a close to 30-point implied total at home where they just put up monster numbers all the time? So that's number one. But at plus 850 on Bet365, you can see I bet this already, for 100 yards. How do I not ladder that? I mean, you knew this was coming. Even if you just wanted to bet the standard and not ladder it, I think it's a good play because the Vikings are the type of team that they've actually given up a lot of big plays to good receivers lately with good quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts hit A.J. Brown for a 79-yard touchdown a few weeks back. Devontae Smith went for 40-plus in that same game. Rodgers hit Metcalf for an 80-yard touchdown when they played that game overseas. Justin Herbert had a bunch of big plays to these guys. Let's not forget, they faced Jake Browning in one game. They faced Dylan Gabriel in another game. When they've gone up against quality quarterbacks and good pass catchers, the Minnesota Vikings corners have really struggled. And Brian Flores' defense, they can get pressure as good as anybody, but who's as good as any quarterback as being decisive and getting the ball out quickly as Jared Goff? So you take the speed, the downhill, you take the threat of speed with Jamison Williams, but also his breakaway ability to get yards after the catch. I really do actually like this spot for him. It's not just the narrative, but that doesn't hurt when we're getting 42.5. I think I actually had to bet this at 44.5 because the 42.5 was on BetMGM and they limit everybody, but you get the point. It's still a good number. I'm taking this up to 100. You see it right here, right? One total unit, whatever your unit size may be, and I'm going to ladder it by 20s, right? So I'm taking the 44.5, then the 60, 80, and 100. I'm not hitting the 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. So that's the way I'm going to do this with JMO this week. All right, let's close this one out with a boost. This week's not as crazy as last week, but we're going to take a plus 754 three-leg anytime touchdown parlay and boost it to plus 1131 over on Onyx. That's a 50% boost. By the way, they're available in 40 plus states. It's a sweepstakes book, so that's helpful probably to many of you out there. I bet over there, and I am in Pennsylvania. If you want to get over on Onyx, go ahead and use that link in the description. Use code OS100 and get a 100% match up to $100 if you head over to Onyx and want to take advantage of this boost. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to take DJ Moore at plus 195. Why? I think it's a good spot for him this week. Already had the best touchdown odds on Onyx over any other book, and now we're adding it to a 50% boost. But also, DeAndre Swift is out. Sure, Kyle Monunga is a guy they don't mind, but they've used DJ Moore out of the backfield at times, and I think this might be an opportunity to see some more gadgetry. But also, Cincinnati's defense is so bad that there's a multitude of ways we could find opportunities for DJ Moore to score, and we're getting him just under plus 200 over there on Onyx. Add the second one into the parlay. It's going to be Kamani Vidal minus 140. It's tough not to do this, man. Hassan, he looks very good. First of all, we took, if you watch my Thursday night videos, was that Thursday or it was Thursday, right? Maybe Monday. I don't know. Everything blends together. If you watch those videos here on the channel or you follow me on Tails, you already know that we took the over rushing attempts for Vidal. He hit that like 5 minutes into the third quarter. We should have laddered it. But we didn't. But anyway, Kamani Vidal minus 140 here. Hassan Haskins still isn't practicing. They're not going to give Patterson 15 carries. And here's the biggest thing. Jeffrey Simmons is ruled out for the Tennessee Titans. So that means as near double-digit favorites, Kamani Vidal as the clear workhorse running back on a team that just got Joe Alt and Pipkins back on the offensive line, and the opposing team missing their best interior defensive player as a near double-digit favorite. Love this spot for Vidal, whether you're parlaying it or betting it straight. And the third and final leg, Josh Jacobs at minus 145. Now you may be saying, didn't you like Emmanuel Wilson overs on rushing yards? Yeah, but I don't think the two are mutually exclusive at all, and I'll tell you why. Josh Jacobs has 11 goal line carries this year. No other running back has any for the Green Bay Packers. So we don't care about rushing yards here. We're talking about goal line work. He has 19 carries inside the 10. The only player with more than that in the entire NFL this year is Jonathan Taylor. And you're also looking at a matchup against a Carolina team that can clearly be gashed, and the Packers are 13-point favorites at home. So do I think Jacobs could be limited in between the 20s? Sure. Do I think when they get down to the 10, even inside the 20 at the goal line, Jacobs is going to get that work? Absolutely. And I think minus 145 is actually a really good number here. We're taking this 50% boost on Onyx from plus 754 to plus 1131. And let's see if we can do some damage. I'll see you guys over there on Tails. Follow me over on Twitter at Loughy, Loughy, and I'll catch you back here for the next one. Bye-bye.